The Russian tanks were negated by a simple, improvised weapon, the Molotov cocktail, a bottle filled with gasoline and tar, which was thrown into tank engines, setting them on fire. The communist tactics were naive, separating their tanks from their infantry. The Russian armor was hunted down amongst the forests by Finnish infantry on skis. The Russians attempted to swamp the Finns by weight of numbers, using crude human wave mass attacks. The result was massacre by machine gun fire. Throughout the Finnish War and the early stages of the eventual conflict with Nazi Germany, Soviet forces would be severely weakened by the butchery of Soviet high command in Stalin's purges. The communist dictator destroyed the leadership of his army through a paranoid fear of plots and planned coup d'etat.
Even though they had been victorious over several campaigns, Finland was now under heavy pressure. The Soviet Union was increasing troop presence along the border for each day passing, and their numbers were overwhelming. Envoys were sent to the German Reich, now in war with Poland, to remind them that they too would soon share borders with the communists, and that standing together might be the only option to hold them back. The 18th of October 1939, Poland surrendered to the German Reich, and before they even had a chance to recuperate, the Soviets had invaded and annexed what was left of the former Polish lands. Just a few months later, Stalin held a speech about the dangers of leaving Finland independent and that its civilian population was suffering under a corrupt government. He was preparing for a full-scale invasion. Demands were sent from the Soviet Union that Finland cede the Karelian region to Soviet and demilitarize the entire area, demands that were ignored. Finland joined the Axis forces the 13th of January 1940. Only 3 months later, France capitulated. The peace treaty was signed in the very train cart that the armistice from the First World War was signed. The Axis forces could now concentrate more on the growing threat to the east. A new nationalism and widespread belief in victory against communism led to huge waves of volunteers for the army, and soon Finland had 45 highly trained divisions ready to defend their homeland. This new alliance did however come with a price, and Finland was dragged into war against Hungary when the Axis member Romania declared war on them. With no interest in said war, the Finnish support was only on paper, and all resources and manpower was sent to further fortificate and man the borders of Soviet. The newly conquered territories in the Balkans was however left undefended, as Carl Gustav Mannerheim had concluded that defending that territory too would stretch a already thin line of defenses way too much. Trust had to be put in the Germans and their capabilities to hold the strategic airports and push the Soviets back. Japan had seen success in the invasion of China, but there was no secret that they had massive losses and help from them in the coming war would not count for much. The 30th of August 1940, the Soviets broke the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact and publicly declared war on Finland. Massive numbers of Soviet troops were sent charging against the heavily defended positions of Finland, and the first assault ended in slaughter. Stalin's plans to quickly annex Finland was put to halt when he now also had to fight with the Germans, and most of the Soviets' army was called back to deal with the higher threat to the west. Finnish reconnaissance troops reported this to their high command, which in return ordered the Finnish army to do something the Soviets never thought they would do: go on the offensive. With relative ease because of the unprepared Soviet armies, Finland's First Army occupied Leningrad the 6th of September 1940. The Second and Third Army also saw success when pushing the Soviets back in the north. Then disaster struck as the newly formed Republican Spain joined the war on the Soviet side, forcing 2/3 of the Germans' standing armies to move west to deal with the new threat. This put them on the defense on their eastern borders, and the Soviets took advantage of that. With sheer numbers they started pushing the Germans back, and with millions dead they soon reached Warsaw, where the Germans made their stand. With the Kola region and Leningrad secured, Finland was now again on the defense, but this time without its reinforced positions and bunkers. With supply issues and manpower being scarce, many started questioning if the offensive warfare would become their downfall. Thanks for watching this third episode of Hearts of Iron 4. I'm having a blast playing this game and I hope you enjoy these videos. Be sure to like and sub and all that stuff, and I will see you next time. Fullbordad. Bye.